Okay, class, so we're moving on to the next section where we have a tangent line and a secant line, and we're trying to find the length of my tangent line here. Previously, we discussed that when you have two secant lines, what you want to do is you want to take the outer portion times the length of the entire thing. So you're multiplying 4 times the entire thing. Well, in this situation here, my tangent line doesn't have anything else to multiply it with. So the way that this rule compensates for that is by multiplying itself, the tangent line is by multiplying itself by itself, meaning that you're going to square it. Over here, I have a secant line, and I'm going to treat that exactly the same way as I did before. I'm going to do 4 times the entire thing, which is 9. But since I have a tangent line and there's nothing to multiply with, I'm going to square it. And here's what it's going to look like. X squared, x to the second power. Because I'm going to multiply it by itself. And that's going to be equal to 4, the outer portion, times the entire thing, which is 9. So x squared is equal to 4 times 9. When I distribute the 4 and the 9, x squared is equal to 36. Obviously, I'm looking for x. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the square root of both sides. The square root of x squared is x, and the square root of 36 is 6, because 6 times 6 is 36. Or you can just do 36, second shift, and you get 6. There it is. There's the square root. Okay? Let's take a look at another example. Here, again, I have a tangent line. I have a secant line. I know that the secant line is going to be 5 times the whole thing, which is 12. We treat that the normal way. But here I have a tangent line and nothing to multiply it with. So how do I compensate for that? I square it. So what I'm going to say is it's going to be x squared is going to be equal to 5 times the whole thing, which is 12. 5 times 12. So x squared is equal to 5 times 12 is 60. I don't want x squared. I want what? I just want x. So I'm going to take the square root of both sides. The square root of x squared is going to be x. The square root of 60 is going to be the square root of 60. And I'm going to plug that into a calculator here. So 60, shift, square root, and I get 7.74. So when I plug it into a calculator, x is equal to 7.74, or the square root of 60 is equal to 7.74. So this little part right here, my tangent line, is 7.74 units long. Let's take a look at another example. Again, here I have a tangent line x. I have a secant line, which is, we know how to treat that already. So what I'm going to do is, since I don't have anything to multiply my tangent line with, I'm going to square it. So I'm going to have x squared is equal to my outer portion, which is 7, times the entire thing, which is 7 plus 9. 7 plus 9 is 16. So it's 7 times the entire thing, which is 16. So that's going to give me x squared is equal to 112. When I multiply 7 times 16, I get 112. It's 112. But I don't want x squared. What I want, guys, I just want x, right? So I'm going to take the square root of both sides. The square root of x squared is x. The square root of 112 is 10.58. There's 12, shift, square root, 10.58. So my tangent line is 10.58 units long. And that's how we handle tangent lines and secant lines in a circle together. The last section is the easier of all 3 sections, and that's why I left that for last. And what the rule in your notes is saying is, well, you know what, let me erase this here first because I don't want you to see this. Cross that out. Let me cross this out here as well, okay? What it's saying is, notice I have a green line here, this green chord, and I have this blue one here, okay? By the way, they're not necessarily going to be the same length. You know, you think, oh yeah, this is 6 and 3, so that's 9, but this is 9, so how are they going to be the same, right? They're not the same length. The only way that chords are the same length is if the arcs that they create are the same length, and obviously we don't have that information here. So we're looking for this little part right here, right? Well, here's what the rule says in your notes. The rule says that if I take the 2 parts of the green line, the 9 and the x, and I multiply them together, their product is going to be equal to the 2 parts of the blue line multiplied together, the 6 and the 3. So if I multiply 9 times x, it should be equal to 6 times 3. So I'm going to multiply 9 times x. I'm going to multiply the 6 and the 3 together. Well, 9 times x is 9x. 6 times 3 is 18. obviously I'm going to divide both sides by 9. That cancels out, and x is equal to 2. So I know then that this little part of the segment here is going to be 2 units long. So this chord is 11 units long, and this one is 9 units long. Let's take a look at another example here. Okay, here I have a blue chord. This part is x, this part is 15. The green chord is split up into 18 and 10. And what the rule says that if I multiply these two parts of the blue line together, they should be equal to the product of the two parts of the green line together. So I'm going to multiply 15 and x, and it should be equal to 10 times 18. So there it is. Setting it up, 15 times x should be equal to 18 times 10. 15 times x is 15x. 18 times 10 is 180. Obviously, I'm going to divide both sides by 15. That's going to give me x, and 180 divided by 15 is 12. It's 12. So this little portion right here of the chord is going to be 12 units long. And that's how we handle those types of questions. Again, remember guys, you can see these videos as many times as you want on the YouTube page. Now in class today, what we're going to do is you're going to get a packet. I'm going to give you a packet, and you're going to start on page 632. And on page 632, you're going to do numbers 3 through 8, which are the first 6 questions here from 3 to 8. You're going to do all of them. You're going to find the value of x is what you're going to do. Then you're going to do questions 10 through 15. So you're going to do questions 3 through 8 and 10 through 15 on this handout page 632 that I'm going to give you. Or I'm sorry, that you have already. And then when you're done with that, you're going to turn your paper over, and you're going to notice that you have a couple of sheets here. You can have a couple of EOC type questions here, here, and on the back as well. And you're going to do all of those questions as